If you are doing content based on educational, promotional, inspirational, motivational, you are doing it all wrong. In this video, you will expect to learn how to create a content strategy, and you can't create a content strategy without knowing how to do the market research. That's why watch this video about market research before watching this content strategy. Hi, I'm Shara Obligar. I'm a freelance social media manager working with different clients across the globe. If you are aspiring social media manager and still don't know what content strategy is, and if you are a social media manager and still lost how to create a content strategy for your account or for your client, don't worry, we will narrow it down on how to create a content strategy, because to tell you honestly, this part is the most tricky part of being a social media manager, because even though you are an expert or you know how to create a content strategy, there are instances that content will flop. Most of the content will not go well, because in creating content strategy, we are monitoring what content, what's not gonna work with your client, and what content, what's going to work with your client. It's not all about that. We have the process in creating content strategy. That's why I have here the social media strategy summary that I have created for social media managers, or for you to know what strategies that I have been doing or experimenting for my client, for me to know what contents what's gonna work and what content what's not going to work. So now, are you ready to learn the content strategy? Let's go. Content strategy is just a plan on how you are going to share, create, and optimize content based on your social media goals. Here's the step on how I create content for my client. First, you have to know the content funnel. You have to really understand how content funnel works in social media. So I have here the content funnel, which is 80% awareness, 15% nurture, and 5% sales. Make sure if you're going to create a content, most of them or 80% of them is awareness. So those awareness content is all about relatable, funny, trending, that is connected to your target audience and at the same time to your business as well. And second funnel or the middle funnel is the nurture content. In nurture content, those are the contents that you have to position yourself as an expert. You have to nurture them or to make them trust you, for them to believe that this content creator can help me achieve my goal. For your client, as a skincare industry, make sure that their audience will realize, okay, this brand or this skincare brand will help me achieve that glowing skin. Make sure you have to position that brand or business to your target audience that will make your business trust them and give them the solution that they need to their challenges. That's why in creating content, you always have to know what is the interest of your audience and what are the challenges of your target audience. And of course, the last in the funnel is the sales content. So once you build that trust, you build that awareness to your target audience, it is time to sell to them. And this is the most common mistakes that we have been doing in social media, that we always direct selling. We are expecting to our audience to take action as soon as possible once we create content that talks about our services or products, but it is wrong. Me as a target audience as well, I don't want to feel na binebentahan lang ako ng business na to. I want that business to connect with me. I want that business to build trust with me, that I can really trust their products or services. Kasi sa online, ang dami ng scam. And ganun yung mindset ng people, ay hindi naman to gagana, ay hindi naman to tunay, ay hindi naman to makaka-help sa akin. And to remove that mindset, you have to build the awareness and you have to build that trust first before you sell things in social media. That's why you have to know 80% awareness, 15% nurture, and 5% sales content. Second step in creating content strategy is to create a content pillars. Content pillars is just a theme or categories of your content ideas for you to easily create a content ideas, because most of the social media managers always finding themselves, ang hirap gumawa ng content ideas, saan ako makakakuha ng content ideas? Actually, sobrang daming content ideas. It's just that you have to know the business of your client so well. And if you don't know where to find those content ideas, Comment ideas below and I'll create content about where I find content ideas at kung bakit hindi ako nawawala ng content ideas for my client. And going back, content pillars, it is just a formula for you to easily create content that is strategically planned based on your client's social media goals. So for example, you are creating content about day in my life or any behind the scene about you as a social media manager, then you are also creating content about tips to become a social media manager. So those are the two sample of content pillars. You can create a storytelling which is about you, what the day in the life, the behind the scene. Those are the storytelling about you that will make people aware who you are. That's the awareness content. Then another content pillar is the tips to become a social media manager. So you can create content. This is how I start being a social media manager last year. This is how I create content for my client. Or this is how I close a deal with my first client without experience. You can categorize those content ideas na sinabi natin kanina under that category, tips to become a social media manager, para hindi lang kung saan-saan mo ilalagay yung mga content idea na yon. So, ilalagay mo siya in one category. Okay, kapag storytelling, ano yung mga pwede kong i-storytell? Ang dami mong kwento sa buhay, ikwento mo yun if you are comfortable sharing it to social media para hindi ka maubusan ng content ideas. Kasi, when we say storytelling behind the scene, ang dami nating pwedeng i-content. Like, this is how I create content for my client. This is how I edit content for my client. This is my monthly content calendar for my client. Those are storytelling that will make people aware that you are a social media manager, which is top of the funnel, 80% awareness. That content pillar is awareness content. And then, tips to become a social media manager. So, that content pillar is nurture content that will position yourself that you are a trusted social media manager because you are giving tips to those aspiring social media manager. And you have to create more content pillars. I suggest to create 4 pataas na content pillars para hindi masyadong maboard yung audience mo na, ay, ito si Shara, storytell lang naman to ng storytell, wala na akong nakikita dito kung hindi storytelling. Pare-parehas na lang, nakakasawa na yung content niya. If you are posting content 3 times a week, so create content pillars na 3 para Monday is storytelling, Wednesday is tips to become a social media manager, then 3rd pillars naman is for Friday, para iba-iba everyday yung content pillars mo and iba-iba yung nakikita ng audience mo sa'yo weekly. So that's how we create a content pillar. It is just a way for us to easily create a content ideas strategically based on our social media goals and based on what our target audience interest. Because I know what you thought of the content pillars is those educational, inspirational, motivational, and promotional. Actually, they are not the content pillars, they are the content goals. And content pillars is far different from the content goals. Content goals, from the word itself, it is the goal of our content to educate people. For example, if you are creating content tips to become a social media manager, that means your content goal is to educate people, which is the educational content. And after you have that content pillar, you have to create content ideas that is fit within that categories. Diba? Sabi ko kanina, tips to become a social media manager. So think of a content idea. What content ideas that will fit under that category, tips to become a social media manager? That's why in my content calendar, I have a bucket of content ideas that I use to list all of my content ideas that I'm going to publish or create a content on my TikTok. You have to list down of those content ideas and categorize them with your content pillars that you have created in step 2. Step number 4 is to plan your content using monthly content calendar. And as a social media manager, hindi dapat tayo mawalan ng content calendar. It is very important if you are a social media manager or if you are aspiring social media manager. Comment monthly content calendar below and I'll show you my exact monthly content calendar that I have been using as a social media manager. Kasi as a social media manager, may sarili din akong monthly content calendar for me to organize my content on TikTok and on Instagram. And those are the 4 steps on how you can create content and strategy to your account. It's just that you have to familiarize yourself in those steps kasi medyo mahirap lang din talaga intindihin yung mga step by step na yon kasi it is not familiar for you if you are aspiring social media manager because those are the jargon terms in social media. But as time goes by, if you learn how to do it, mas madadalian ka na in creating content and strategy. In strategizing our client social media, we don't just create content and strategy. We also have the engagement and strategy, caption and strategy, story and strategy. That's why I have created this social media strategy summary for you. Kasi this content strategy summary is everything stated here, all of the strategies for my client. We also have sample of the content panel, awareness content, nurture content, and everything, the step-by-step guide on how to engage and other story strategies that you can use as well for your social media. Because I know myself as a social media manager, it's very difficult to create a strategy for our client's account, and not all strategy will give you results because again, those strategies is based on your client's account, client's target audience. That's why keep experimenting, know what content will work and what content will not work for you to know what kind of pattern that you can reuse for you to create a content and use the same pattern for that future content so it will work to your clients or to your client's audience. And that's it for a content and strategy. And again, if you are interested to know how I create my monthly content calendar using Notion and how I create content pillars or what are the sample of my content pillars that I have been using in my social media, TikTok and Instagram, let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to hit subscribe so I can see you on my next video. Bye!